Hello and welcome to Business Live. Coming up, cedi depreciation continues as some analysts project 15 cedis to $1 if the trend does not change immediately. We have details. Plus, new reports by Ghana Integrity Initiative shows economic hardship and corruption likely to affect domestic revenue mobilization as businesses shy away from paying taxes. We'll tell you more from the research.
Factors that have been cited by the businesses for non-compliance was around exchange rate. Some of them complain that the cost of the exchange rate is so high for them now, making their cost of running business very, very high.
Plus, prices of petroleum products finally go up at the pumps, with Total Energy selling a litre of petrol at 11 cedis 15 pesos. Let's begin with our headline story for this evening. The Bank of Ghana has announced that it's now working to buy all the foreign exchange earnings brought into the country by oil and mining companies. This is one of the several measures taken by the central bank to immediately improve its dollar reserves as the local currency depreciates. The Bank of Ghana also increased the policy rate by 300 basis points. Let's take you through some of the measures taken by the central bank after the emergency meeting yesterday. Now, we begin with the first point where it says that the monetary policy rate increased by 300 basis points to hit 22%, considering risks to inflation outlook. It goes ahead to say that primary reserve requirements of banks raised from 12% to 15% to be implemented in a phased manner. To boost the supply of foreign exchange to the economy, the Bank of Ghana is working collaboratively with the mining firms, international oil companies, and their bankers to purchase all foreign exchange arising from the voluntary repatriation of export proceeds from mining and oil and gas companies. Now, the shortage of the US dollar has forced the exchange rate to hit 10 cedis 5 pesos to $1 at the forex market. Checks with some banks and Forex Bureau by Joy Business indicates that some banks are quoting 9 cedis 95 pesos to the dollar, whilst the forex are selling the American currency a little above 10 cedis. The following report has more.
The situation is worse at the Forex bureaus as they are quoting 10 cedis 5 pesos to $1 US. As of Monday, August 15th, the cedi had lost about 3 cedis 15 pesos on the face value to the dollar since the beginning of the year. Some relationship managers and treasurers that spoke to Joy Business confirmed the scarcity of the US dollar, adding that the situation is bad and could further deteriorate by the end of the week if the authorities, including the Bank of Ghana, do not intervene. Meanwhile, the British pound is selling at 10 cedis 80 pesos, while the euro is going for 9 cedis 95 pesos.
Meanwhile, partner at Deloitte Ghana, Yao Latte, says the cedi will go up for 15 cedis to $1 by the end of the year if drastic measures are not put in place. According to him, some analysts have been projecting that rate if the economic conditions do not improve immediately. He spoke earlier on Marketplace.
Wow. Some analysts are quickly projected that it's going to hit 15 by the end of the year. And we are all worried about that. So I think it's something that we should be concerned about. And especially given that as we speak, Ghana cedi is were second to the Sri Lanka rupee, and now we are the worst performing currency in the world. I think it's a cause for concern. We should actually put in drastic measures to address it. Previously, we were second to the Sri Lanka rupee, and now we are the worst performing currency in the world. I think it's a cause for concern. We should actually put in drastic measures to address it. The only caution I will add is that let us not use a panic response. The panic response that we did some time ago, where when people send their dollar to the bank, and even when they change their mind almost immediately that they want their dollar back, we give them cedis. I think that even aggravated the situation, and the situation got worse. We should not use panic response. I think some of the measures that were applied by the Monetary Policy Committee yesterday are proactive, and we think that we should allow those measures to flow. We should allow those measures, we should monitor how those measures work and turn out, and not use any panic response like restricting people's access to forex and all of that. Those are likely to worsen the situation.
Prices of petroleum products are expected to go up at the pumps from today. This coming after the National Petroleum Authority increased the Unified Petroleum Price Fund from the current 29 pesos on petrol and diesel to 36 pesos, effective August 16. The latest move will compound the situation of consumers since prices of petroleum products were already expected to go up due to the cedi depreciation. Based on data from the oil marketing companies, petrol should be up by 6.8% and diesel should be up by 12.2% per litre. Now, players in the oil and gas sector are calling on governments to implement incentive schemes that will attract new investment into the exploration sector. Speaking to Joy Business after launching the Made in Ghana Upstream Petroleum Industry Report, Chief Executive for the Upstream Petroleum Chamber, David Ampofo, said the industry has not seen any new agreement in the past few years with regards to exploration. The situation, he explains, will reduce the country's earnings from the oil and gas sector.
The oil and gas industry in 2020 and 2021 recorded a decline in production, which coincided with price volatilities induced by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Ghana Upstream Petroleum Chamber is recommending to government to make some interventions through incentives for potential investors in order to revive activities in the sector. Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, David Ampofo, also expressed worry over the delay in government approval for field development works in the sector.
Getting smaller and smaller, and there are many companies that have resources, and we have to attract people into Ghana for people to explore. If you don't explore, nothing happens. You have to remember, we're producing oil since 2010. If you all remember, it started 2010 with Jubilee, and then 10, then Sankofa. There have been no agreement since for the last maybe 4 or 5 years. So, and the profile is going down. You can see production is beginning to decline. So you need people to explore, start producing other fields, you know what I mean, so that we can keep going, because it's a key area for our economy. So that was one thing. The other thing we recommended was expedite the process, the speed from appraisal to development. They explore, then they find, then they have to appraise it. Appraise means make a good assessment of what it is. Then you have to develop, put in infrastructure, because you're going to be drilling, and then you produce. It takes too long sometimes, that whole process. So we suffer from, how can we shorten that? How can we speed it up? So that it would be lovely to look at the coast of Ghana and see like timber concessions. These are concessions out in the sea, blocks. You see, they're all in the western region there. There's just a few of them. The rest of the coast is all empty.
The industry players also want government to review some of the fiscal regimes that give some relief to potential exploration companies that want to enter the sector. Joe Mensah is a senior vice president at Cosmos Energy.
Moment today that when we discovered oil and everything looked so positive and so good, we felt we were ready for prime time and therefore starting to scale up and asking for more. We need to move back. Just like when we had virgin land, places for people to work and gave very attractive to the newcomers that first came in, let's go back and revisit that and do similar things to attract people. As I said on the panel, make the bar low enough for people to go over. And once they come in and discover something, then you can ask for something more.
The maiden report by the Chamber lays out the current legal and regulatory policy framework for the upstream sector.
Now, tax compliance research conducted by the Ghana Integrity Initiative indicates that businesses are shying away from paying taxes due to the rising cost of operations and perceived corruption in the Ghanaian economy. According to the local chapter of Transparency International, the Ghana Revenue Authority will have to step up efforts in attracting businesses and people to file their returns. Finance Manager Benedict Doe told journalists a while ago that domestic revenue mobilization is under threat if the situation continues.
The findings were presented at a National Tax Policy Forum by the Ghana Integrity Initiative and Australian Aid under the theme Exploring Innovative Measures to Promote Voluntary Tax Compliance. According to the research, voluntary tax compliance has reduced significantly, as well as trust in tax officers. Finance Manager at the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Benedict Doe, explains that businesses are feeling the economic hardship and not willing to voluntarily pay tax.
The level of corruption in Ghana is high. Most businesses see corruption and mismanagement as a key determinant for their compliance in terms of payment of taxes, and it will really be good if government takes this into consideration. Other economic factors that have been cited by the businesses for non-compliance was around exchange rate. Some of them complain that the cost of the exchange rate is so high for them now, making their cost of running business very high, and so that also gets them into the terrain of being non-compliant. Another thing has to do with the interest rates. Most businesses complain because there's a direct relationship between the capital structure of businesses and then their willingness to pay taxes, because those who are operating with debt or loans think that the cost of financing their loans is quite high.
Meanwhile, Deputy Commissioner of Operations at the Ghana Revenue Authority, Kwesi Igan, has outlined measures that the authority is taking to increase tax payments.
Now doing cashless. We are the nascent stages of deploying an electronic invoicing system which is scheduled to take off with a pilot number of taxpayers of about 50 on the 1st October, and it will be drilled down to the rest of the taxpayer population. We are deploying an application called DLRM for rent tax collection, which donor support from GIC. We have developed a digital platform for the registration of non-resident e-commerce businesses.
The report acknowledged that Ghana is making gains with the introduction of online platforms for tax payments.
The Japanese government, in partnership with the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, has organized a training program for some small businesses on resilience and business continuity plans in times of difficulty. The global economy has been challenged by COVID-19 and the Russia-Ukraine war, and Ghana is no exception. Speaking at the program, a resilience expert was hopeful that training will ensure businesses build organizational resilience and adapt to changes easily.
The training was to help business map out weaknesses and bottlenecks in existing risk management frameworks, as well as develop resilience to better cope in times of crisis. Resilience expert Dr. Diony Wanji told Joy Business the objective of the program is to ensure that businesses are not seriously affected during crisis.
Part of the project is first of all to train beneficiaries of the project in the area of organizational resilience, that is understanding the context within which they operate and being able to adapt to changes, because change, as we know now, is the only thing that doesn't change. Being able to adapt to change, seize opportunities, and even thrive in times of crisis. So we have conducted this training, which took place 2 days ago. 1 week, and it was a two-day training. And this week we have conducted another training on business continuity.
Grace Amo, Product Development Manager of Iowa Abefor Limited, told Joy Business the training will enhance a outfit's ability to withstand shocks during crisis.
What I've learned from this particular training is that after COVID, our core value or our core shift purpose of the company with manufacturing was shifted a little into manufacturing of hand sanitizer, biodegradable hand sanitizer with neem oil, neem extract. So this training has actually equipped us with how to continue or how to plan, how to have a recovery plan with other areas or other sectors of the company.
The program was part of the Japan-funded COVID-19 support to strengthen the PPE production sector under the circular economy approach. Some trainees were awarded certificates at the end of the training.
You're still watching Business Live with me, Beverly Broohm. We take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Thanks for staying with us. Let's take a look at some other stories now. Now, a scheme to allow farmers to grow crops in forest to increase their income and protect the reserves has led to an increase in illegal farming and deforestation. Forestry officials at Jaboso in Western North region have observed some farmers end up destroying trees in order to make room for the cultivation of crops like plantain and cocoyam. District Forest Manager Mark Edu says farmers failing to heed the Twanja system have had their farms destroyed to make way for a tree restoration project. Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
If you look at, let me go near it.
Walking through portion of Krokosua Hills Forest Reserve, Mark Edu counts the number of trees fell as a result of illegal farming activities.
If you look around, you realize that the felling of this particular tree brought a whole lot of young trees down. You could see that some of the top of the trees around have been broken. So by felling of this tree alone, we've lost a lot.
After counting a number of plantains, he encounters tree stumps and trunks.
These are some of the trees the farmers are destroying in order to establish their farms. All these things are trees, and sometimes they cut them into smaller pieces for firewood too. They are turning the forest to a degraded forest. A degraded forest is a forest that cannot perform its function. So we are reducing it from a good forest to a degraded one. So here, the only solution will be to replant, to restore the vegetation cover.
Mr. Edu estimates about 300 acres of the forest require rapid restoration.
Yes, we have not checked the size, but we have discovered a lot of them. We have not measured to see the extent of destruction that they have done to the forest. But what we know is that it can be more than one compartment, which is about 300 acres. Yes.
Due to illegal farming activities, these 2 hectares of forest that were formerly home to more than 2,000 different tree species currently has less than 100 of them.
For instance, this area, you can see that we have about 2 hectares, which ideally should contain about 2,200 and something trees. But if you look around, the number of trees that you've planted is not up to 100. It means that they are destroying the land.
The forestry unit works closely with 3 communities that make up the Krokosua Hills Forest Reserve in the Dwaboso area. According to Mr. Edu, the farmers take undue advantage of the collaboration to clear the forest in order to engage in illegal crop production for commercial purposes.
A lot of illegal farms around. Forestry Commission, we have a program that we call Tonja. That is whereby we collaborate with farmers to clear portion of the forest for the farmers to plant their food crops, whilst Forestry Commission also plant trees. And then the farmers tend both the food crops and then not plant the trees. Most of the time, they enter the forest themselves and then go and farm indiscriminately anywhere. Sometimes we try to control them by destroying the farms, but try as we do, they will still go on to maintain the farm, because when you destroy the young plantain, anytime it rains, it will sprout out and then they will come back and maintain them.
The district forestry unit had to destroy plantain and cocoyam crops that had been planted in the middle of the forest.
We are using this exercise to solve 2 problems. One, we want to discourage people from going into the forest themselves to plant. And secondly, the foodstuff that we are harvesting today, we are sending it to the secondary schools to solve their food problems too. So basically, we are using one method to solve 2 problems. This we know will discourage farmers from coming in themselves to come and plant.
The foodstuffs were gathered and donated to Dwaboso Senior High School.
Heartfelt gratitude for the owner donors. In fact, this is timely intervention. Government is doing it bits, but it has not been easy. And I believe with this package, our students are really going to enjoy. They are going to have a blend. And I'm promising you that when you visit next time, you see a change. And like Ms. Oliver said, we continue to ask for more.
Yes.
And I must admit that this is not the first time that forestry is doing us this honor. There is a toilet project ongoing. They supply with some plywood and other items. And thankfully, this afternoon, this has been added. So we should say we are most grateful.
Mr. Edu says the exercise will be sustained in order to deter farmers from invading the forest to cut down trees for crops production. He, however, indicates there are opportunities for farmers who abide by the forestry's directives to produce their crops while also preserving the forest.
Our doors are open if the farmers themselves want to collaborate with us, so that Forestry Commission and the farmers will come into the forest, the market area for them. Then we supply them seedlings, we peg the farm for them, and they will plant. This is all that we are trying to do today.
We will take the opportunity to encourage the fringe communities that they should approach the forestry staff and the forestry management. We have a laid-down principle like the modified Tonja system, where degraded portions of the reserve are given to the farmers to plant alongside their food crops. But they are quite hesitant in doing that. So if they go contrary to the laid-down rules of the commission, we will chase after them. And this is a message we are sending across the communities or within the communities of the Krokosua Forest Reserve.
A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
On that note, we end Business Live here on the Joy News channel. You can visit myjoyonline.com/business for more of our stories. My name is Beverly Broohm. Enjoy the rest of our programs.